Witches. Throughout history, the figure of the witch has been both feared and vilified, often seen as a direct challenge to the societal and religious order. Major religions have historically condemned witchcraft, viewing it as a manifestation of heresy, paganism, and a pact with the devil. The condemnation of witches and witchcraft is deeply rooted in religious texts and doctrines, reflecting concerns over the subversion of the natural order, moral corruption, and the threat to spiritual authority. The Bible explicitly condemns witchcraft and sorcery. One of the most cited texts is Exodus 22:18. "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," which has been used throughout history to justify the persecution of those accused of witchcraft. The Malleus Maleficarum, 1487, a treatise on witch hunting commissioned by the Catholic Church, played a significant role in the witch trials of early modern Europe. It described witches as heretics and apostates, detailing their supposed crimes and providing guidelines for their identification, trial, and execution. Islamic teachings also prohibit witchcraft and sorcery, considering them acts of blasphemy. The Quran mentions witchcraft in several verses, emphasizing that sorcerers would not prosper in the afterlife, as mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah 2:102. Throughout Islamic history, laws and fatwas have been issued against witchcraft, associating it with the jinn and demonic possession, and prescribing severe punishments for those found guilty. The Torah contains prohibitions against witchcraft, with Leviticus 19:31 advising against turning to mediums and necromancers. The Talmud further elaborates on these prohibitions, outlining specific forms of sorcery that are forbidden and associating them with idolatry and rebellion against God's will. The lore surrounding witches is vast and varied, spanning cultures, centuries, and continents. Witches have been credited with a wide range of supernatural abilities, reflecting the fears, beliefs, and imaginations of the societies that conceived them. Here's a list of some of the most commonly attributed abilities to witches throughout history and folklore. Spellcasting, the ability to cast spells or incantations to bring about desired changes in reality, often involving the use of magical words, phrases, or rituals. Potion brewing, crafting magical potions with various effects, such as healing, transformation, or harm. Divination, gaining insight into the future, hidden knowledge, or secret matters through various means such as tarot cards, crystal balls, scrying, or reading tea leaves. Necromancy, communicating with the dead to foretell the future, discover hidden knowledge, or manipulate spirits. Shape-shifting, transforming themselves or others into animals or different forms. Common transformations include turning into cats, birds, wolves, or other creatures. Flying, often through the use of magical objects like broomsticks, cloaks, or by transforming into a flying creature. Weather manipulation, controlling or influencing the weather, including summoning storms, rain, fog, or causing droughts. Telekinesis, moving objects with the mind without any physical interaction. Cursing and hexing, placing curses or hexes on individuals, causing them misfortune, illness, or even death. Healing, using herbs, potions, and spells to heal illnesses, injuries, or to provide protection against other forms of magic. Astral projection, projecting their spirit out of their body to travel to distant places or realms. Summoning, calling forth spirits, demons, or other entities to perform tasks, gather information, or for protection. Enchanting, endowing objects or people with magical properties or abilities. Invisibility, making themselves or objects invisible to the naked eye. Animal communication, communicating with animals or commanding their loyalty. Dream manipulation, influencing or controlling dreams, including sending messages through dreams or inducing nightmares. Herbology, extensive knowledge of plants and herbs for magical and medicinal purposes. Illusion casting, creating illusions to deceive the senses or alter perceptions. Energy manipulation, controlling or manipulating various forms of energy for a range of effects. Protection spells, casting spells to protect themselves or others from physical harm or magical attacks. Witches were historically accused of committing malevolent deeds, from causing disease, death, and disaster to manipulating the weather and destroying crops. They were also believed to participate in nocturnal gatherings known as Sabbaths, where they were said to engage in orgiastic rituals, make pacts with the devil, and plot against the Christian community. These accusations were often used to explain unaccountable misfortunes or natural disasters, reinforcing the societal need for scapegoats to bear the brunt of communal anxieties and fears. From the annals of history, the names of some of the most evil witches emerge and their crimes. La Voisin, Catherine Monvoisin. Catherine Monvoisin, known as La Voisin, was a notorious figure who cast a long shadow over 17th century France, a time when the divine right of kings was the law of the land, and yet whispered pacts with darkness were not uncommon. Her infamy was unparalleled, her name synonymous with the darkest sorcery, intertwining with a pervasive fabric of fear that affected both the aristocracy and the common folk alike. La Voisin's expertise in the dark arts extended far beyond the mere concoction of lethal potions or the casting of malevolent spells. She was the mastermind behind black masses, sinister ceremonies that breached the veil separating the mundane from the infernal. These ceremonies, steeped in blasphemy, were rumored to involve the sacrifice of infants, the purest of souls, on unholy altars, their innocent blood serving as a gateway for demonic entities desiring access to our world. The air at these gatherings was heavy with the scent of death and the sounds of cursed incantations, as La Voisin, adorned in the vestments befitting her dark trade, implored the powers of hell for favor and fortune. Her clientele included the crème de la crème of the French court, individuals consumed by a whirlwind of ambition, envy, and despair, who sought her services under the cover of night. Kings, queens, and nobles alike confided their darkest desires to her, hoping to eliminate political rivals or to gain immense wealth through her supernatural aid. However, the price for her services was not mere gold, but the far more precious currency of souls, leading many of her patrons down a path that edged ever closer to the abyss. Despite the eventual lighting of her pyre by the authorities, eager to purge their domain of her perceived evil, the legacy of terror La Voisin left behind was indelible. Her execution, intended to signify the end of her dark influence, could not extinguish the deep-seated fear and fascination her life story continued to inspire. La Voisin's tale serves as a grim reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink in its quest for power and forbidden knowledge, casting a shadow that not even the passage of centuries has been able to dispel. Her story is a chilling testament to the enduring allure and danger of the occult, forever marking it as a dark chapter in French history. Gilles de Rais. Gilles de Rais's story, once a knight celebrated alongside Joan of Arc for valor, spiraled into a narrative marked by darkness and malevolence. His transition from heroism to notoriety is a profound study in extremes, showcasing a descent into the occult that is as perplexing as it is horrifying. Retreating into the solitude of his castle, Gilles devoted himself obsessively to necromancy and the darkest of arts. His castle, once a symbol of nobility, became a ground for sinister practices aimed at piercing the veil between the living and the dead. Gilles' pursuit was not merely academic. It was a desperate search for power and forbidden knowledge, involving rituals and summonings that sought to manipulate the supernatural. The crimes Gilles committed within his castle's walls are among history's most chilling. Young boys, enticed by promises or captured into service, found themselves ensnared in a horrific reality. Gilles' actions transcended murder, evolving into ritualistic sacrifices aimed at garnering favor from dark, unseen forces. These were deliberate acts of cruelty intended to unlock secrets beyond mortal comprehension. When Gilles's deeds were unearthed, his trial revealed the full scope of his atrocities to a nation. Convicted of numerous murders, Gilles de Rais's fall from grace was complete. His story, a cautionary tale of a quest for power turning into unspeakable evil, leaves a legacy that is as dark as it is unforgettable. The Flower Sisters. One night, under the cover of darkness at Belvoir Castle, the lives of Joan, Margaret, and Philippa Flower began to intertwine with the Rutland family's fate. The sisters employed at the castle faced accusations of theft and were abruptly dismissed, setting the stage for a much graver series of events. Following their dismissal, tragedy struck the Rutland family when the young heirs, Henry and Frances Manners, died under mysterious circumstances. These events sparked rumors throughout the castle and the surrounding community, suggesting that the Flower Sisters had turned to witchcraft, seeking vengeance against the Rutland family for their expulsion. The accusations against the Flower Sisters escalated, culminating in a trial that captivated the public's attention. The courtroom, packed with spectators, became the arena where the sisters were portrayed as powerful witches, accused of engaging in dark rituals and forming pacts with demonic entities to carry out their revenge on the Rutland heirs. Throughout the trial, evidence and testimonies painted the Flower Sisters as central figures in a tale of witchcraft and retribution. Despite the lack of concrete proof, the combination of fear, superstition, and the tragic deaths of the Rutland heirs led to the sisters being branded as some of the most notorious witches of their time. The trial and its outcome left a lasting impact on Belvoir Castle's history and the local community, transforming the Flower Sisters from dismissed servants to infamous figures of 17th century England's witchcraft hysteria. Their story, marked by the intertwining of factual events and the supernatural, remains a significant chapter in the castle's legacy. The fear of witchcraft, deeply ingrained in the religious-minded, has sparked witch hunts that spanned continents and centuries, revealing a brutal side of human nature when engulfed by fear and the hunger for dominance, as evidenced by the Salem witch trials, which was primarily based on wealth and power more than anything else. The subject of witchcraft and sorcery is still a divisive topic even to this day. The practice is more tolerated and popular than ever, and continues to capture the minds and imagination of the public. Depending on where you go and who you ask, you may be surprised to learn that the dark arts are still alive and well, as are the threats they present. If you like this video, then like and subscribe. See you in the next video.